So you'll have seen many of these concepts introduced already regarding ESECs and OEGs and working parties reorganisation, and I'll give a bit of context as how that fits into the methodology domain. So as you know, it's been reorganised into 5 domains, the methodology domain there at the bottom reporting into CHMP Prom and Psychobo. And I think the main difference really between the methodology domain and the other ones, primarily as part of the reorganisation, is that we've only ended up with one working party, with the methodology working party, and most of the other domains have multiple working parties. And we've taken existing ones and stuck them together, as you'll see in the forthcoming slides. So in this bigger picture, we have the management board, we have the Psychobo and the committees overseeing that, and then the domains, as I said, the methodology domain. And within that, the methodology working party. And we have a lot of temporary drafting groups already constituted and foreseen, and a couple of somewhat permanent OEGs, as Alberto mentioned in his presentation, and indeed setting up the temporary ones as well. Underpinning this is the ESEC, and then underpinning all of this as well are the wider regulatory network and academia to fill in the expertise we need in the ESEC to deliver the work of the working parties, to deliver the work plan at the domain level, etc., etc. So it is very much a pyramidical structure. Having said that, though, this is a very complicated, but also what we think is probably the most simple way of describing what's happening in the methodology domain. We've been around all of the committees, and this diagram, as it's known as the flower, has been tweaked multiple times. I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about it. And I think the key aspect we have here is that everyone doesn't need to do everything. And that's what we did before in the old structures with the working parties. We'd have a meeting, there'd be some products, there'd be some guidance, there'd be some stuff on training, and everyone would join and we'd check everyone's conflicts of interests. And maybe people weren't actually interested in everything we were talking about. They're only there for 1 or 2 points of the agenda. So the idea is we have these different structures that can deliver the work plan that consists of guidance and of products and of training. And we have at the centre of this MWP, which is Hub. And we have currently 21 people on MWP. We have 25 spaces. We're actually going to probably fill another one of these because we've taken on some more competence in the last few weeks. So that's the kind of size we're looking at. And all of the groups that we have are supposed to have a linking pin. So the blue circles, if you like, are in the middle. You have MWP, and these each represents a member of MWP. And they're each going to take a lead, or each operational expert group and each temporary drafting group is each going to have a lead from MWP, who's going to be the one being responsible and accountable for this. And then to draw the expertise from the yellow circles, those are the ESECs that we have. And I think it's also important to say that one of the things we're trying to do with methodology in particular is to break down silos. And we've taken existing working groups in biostatistics, modelling and simulation, pharmacokinetics and pharmacogenomics. We break down those silos, and people can be members of more than one ESEC, and they contribute to guidelines perhaps not in their direct level of experience and competence, because actually having that outside voice of quantitatively minded people actually we think helps improve the situation. So the yellow circles are the ESECs, and that's where the ESEC activities will happen. I'll talk a little bit more about that. The kind of peachy circles are the temporary OEGs delivered for product. So when a request comes from a committee, we'll form one of these. And we also have the kind of dark orange circles for our permanent OEGs in modelling and statistics and modelling and simulation and biostatistics. And as Jordanis has just said, the main aim for that is to actually support SORP and also the very high volume of work we get from PDCO for PIPs in modelling and simulation, because that's a real core aspect of the paediatric plans is the modelling. So in theory, it all sticks together like this, and the MWP members have this kind of crucial role of linking it all together, and people only have to take part in the activities that they're actually interested in doing. They're multidisciplinary. It's from a broad background, and again, we're explicitly splitting out the guidance generation and the product support. We have a work plan, as all working parties do, and it's built around major pillars of what we want to do. So firstly, operational support, and that's to CHMP as our main committee you report into, but also crucially so other committees and SORP. And actually, one of the things we're really trying to do is to be more efficient, rather than one committee writing to CHMP to say, can we consult this working party? And then they reply to CHMP and they reply back to that committee. It's convoluted, it's time consuming, and actually the questions need to be answered rapidly and effectively. So we're trying to smooth and streamline our operations and specific focus on products. We also have lots of guidance documents to deliver, and BCP, when the work has kind of stopped for the last 3 or 4 years, and the world has not stopped turning, and we have something of a backlog, should we say, of guidance documents, as well as those ones to deliver the future clinical trial issues as well. So these are a structured plan for development, and they've been prioritised. And we've prioritised what we need to do now, but also what we will need in the future as well. So building that in a kind of structured fashion has been part of the work plan development, taking all of the work plans of the existing working parties and also introducing real-world evidence and AI as well. So I think we have prioritised for this year 15 guidance documents we're going to be developing, which sounds like a lot, and it is a lot, but actually if it's spread over 6 or 7 different areas, it's only 2 or 3, and most of those are legacy documents as well. The other thing primarily in the ESEC is knowledge building and capacity, so sharing learnings from assessments, but also training and development of the network as a whole. And that's 2 prongs for that. Firstly, training the methodologists themselves in the methodology they need to know, but also training clinicians, people like yourselves. If you're interested, we're going to be putting on trainings of a methodological flavour for non-methodologists, so you can learn more yourself as part of professional development. Building the expertise network across the NCAs and also with academia, and that last one's particularly important for the work we do, where there's not always as much resource with NCAs to deliver all the work. And working as a global lead with international regulatory partners and leading a voice in global collaborations. So we'll be more strategic with, say, ICH-like documents as well, understanding where we can lead as the EU. Our guidelines have been structured under 4 main areas. Particularly, we focus on clinical pharmacology, and that includes the product-specific bioequivalence guidances, which are kind of a big project that's still very important, primarily for CMDH, as well as modelling and simulation Q&A and documents. We will be focusing on real-world evidence. We're having a structured plan for documents that we're going to be releasing in that area, and also a reflection paper on AI is foreseen. We will be looking at clinical trial modernisation, so implementing ICH guidance, which has been developed over the last 5 years, but our guidance documents haven't actually taken them on board, and making sure the system's ready for the trials of the future. And in particular as well, pharmacogenomics. So we're ready for implementing the in vitro diagnostic legislation, and to update our existing guidance based on that. And for all of these different areas that we've structured our guidelines under, it's crucial that the ESEC is functional for the delivery of them, because we need the resource to actually write these papers and to review them and deliver them at the end. In terms of work plan and training, we have comprehensive curricula foreseen, and we've actually got quite a lot of experience in biostatistics on that, and so we can build on that experience of how to develop and deliver those curriculum. And as I said, training of methodologists is key. And I think from our point of view, the use of case studies from committees is really important. It's not just, what's the latest method, but what is being used by the industry in their development programs, and training of the wider network. We're going to work closely with the EU Network Training Centre for that. And there's also an upcoming joint action that's being led by some member states that we're actively liaising with as well, to make sure that it's all joined up and there's a lot more harmonised thinking about how this is being delivered. And again, the ESEC is very crucial for delivery here. In terms of stakeholder engagement, we have some key stakeholders. We have industry, and in fact the industry groups that we talk to are organised on the traditional lines. They haven't brought everything under the big one methodology umbrella. They still have statistics groups, modelling groups, generics groups, etc. So we will have to talk to them at quite a granular level. We need to talk to global regulators, and again, they're also organised on traditional lines. So even though we've taken the quite bold step to bring everything under one umbrella, not everyone else has done that, and we have to reflect that when we engage with our other regulatory stakeholders. And also, well, we have EU projects, EU-funded projects, IHI, etc., but also things where EMA is in the lead, ACT-EU, BDSG, etc. And I said, finish up the key role of the ESEC we have. So the methodology working party is responsible for delivery of this, but the ESEC is a crucial network for knowledge, engagement, and agile delivery. And I think it's important that we are going to align our objectives with other initiatives that have been driven in the European systems, including those of the Big Data Steering Group of the ACT-EU. So we'll establish the network ability to assess applications supported by data science, including AI models created through machine learning algorithms. And that's written down in the Big Data Steering Group work plan. And obviously there's no point them looking at that and methodology working party looking at that at the same time. So we just need to make sure that we align our objectives and understand that we do this together and bringing multiple benefits across the network. For ACT-EU, they talk about develop and publish key methodologies guidance, including on AI and machine learning. So again, making sure there's not duplication during the network and coordination between scientific advice and innovation and methodology. And the ESEC will be responsible for training and development in general. So crucially, it acts as this kind of capacity hub across the network. And I think that should be it. Yeah, okay. So that kind of gives a little bit more granularity to the high-level principles as outlined by Alberto, and I'm happy to take any questions at the end. Thank you.